We got a question on the far outside right.
Coach, you made some headlines with some comments you made about the no huddle offense. You know, kind of refuting what Nick Saban and Coach Belima had to say about it. Can you maybe elaborate more as to how you feel about the no huddle? Obviously, you're going to run it at Texas Tech. You ran it at Texas A&M. You got Manziel Heisman doing it. Just kind of what are your thoughts on that whole thing?
Yeah, I think that was pretty well documented how I feel. The game evolves and it changes, and you have to play to your strengths. And if we think playing in that style is going to give us an advantage, we're going to do it, and we play to the rules. So everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I'm not saying I'm right. That's how I feel about it.
We got a question on the back left.
Hey, Kliff, Brian Baldinger here from Fox Sports. When you coach in Lubbock, the wind never stops blowing. I was just curious, arm strength, how important it is throwing the football in that area, in that town, because it can vary within games sometimes, start to finish. And it just seems like if you don't have a real gun, it really affects the way you play offense.
Yeah, I think, you look at the numbers that people were throwing for out there under Coach Leach, and even last year they were second in the country in throwing the football. It's more just an attitude. You practice in it each and every day, and you get used to it, and it can psych other teams out. They come to town, and it's blowing 50 miles per hour, and they don't think they can throw. But we do it each and every day, and it's more just throwing a tight spiral. Arm strength, it helps, but if you can keep your ball tight in the wind and be accurate in those circumstances, then you'll be all right.
Got a question in the middle.
Kliff, Tim Griffin with the San Antonio Express News. Speaking of tight spirals, I wonder if you can analyze how your quarterback race is breaking out at this time.
It's been good. We were really pleased with Michael Brewer and Davis Webb's progress in the spring. Those guys kind of separated themselves from the rest of the pack. So we'll get them to fall camp, probably go about 2 weeks, and it varies before naming a starter, but try and get 2 scrimmages in, see how the 7-on-7's gone this summer, see how much film study they've done, and just who separates themselves. And we did a similar deal last year at Texas A&M. Worked out a little bit for us, so hopefully we have that same success.
Question on the aisle.
Kliff, Kevin Gorman from the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review. Can you speak to what it was like coaching in the SEC and the divide between the SEC and other conferences, and what it's going to take for the Big 12 to catch up and other conferences as well? Yeah,
I think anytime you won 7 national championships in a row, you're on top, and that's hard to dispute that. But it's great defenses, great coaches in that league, and I feel the same about the Big 12. And I think it's cyclical in a way that in a couple of years the Big 12 may be making the same sort of run. So there's great players all over the country. That league was fun to play in, but I'm excited about this new challenge.
Outside left.
Barry Trammell with the Oklahoman. Kliff, last season at A&M, you had the spread offense, but you also had a really mobile quarterback. Tech, traditionally, the last 15 years, you guys have been pretty stationary. Brewer, at least, has got some good feet. Is that something you plan to do with the Tech offense going forward, is keep the spread concepts, but have a quarterback who runs around?
We're big on having a QB that can extend plays, and it doesn't have to mean rushing yards always. At Houston we had Case Keenum, who had great feet, and he could keep a play alive by getting out of the pocket, finding his receivers downfield. So we definitely want a guy who can move and escape the pocket and keep things, really extend the play down the field.
Question on the rear left.
Casey Kieran, K-Texas in Abilene. Can you talk about Clayton Nicholas? And I know you just said you like a guy who can use his feet. He's not really known for that. What can he do over these next couple of years to fit himself into your philosophy? Yeah,
Clayton did a good job at the end of the spring picking up the system, and I thought he performed really well in our spring game, and he probably has the strongest arm, one of the stronger arms I've been around. So he's more athletic than you'd think, and he really has come on strong lately. So it'll be interesting to see how he does starting fall camp.
Got a question in the middle about halfway back.
Yeah, this is Jimmy Birch, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Kliff, obviously you've taken a job at your alma mater where you had great success as a player. What, in your mind, are some of the biggest challenges with living up to what you did there as a player and then trying to replicate that level of success as a coach going forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think after getting out there, we really started with our team motto is, hey, get better each and every day. And the Heights, Coach Leach took that program. I mean, those are hard to repeat. I mean, that's something that had never been done out there. But we're excited about our group. I think last year they were 8-5, and definitely have lots of room for improvement. So it's not like we're coming into a program that's broken. We're just coming in trying to put our spin on it.
Question in the middle.
Scott Fitzgerald, RaiderPower.com. What would you say to people who overlook or maybe disrespect your running backs and your running game?
Yeah, that's another good question. We have a great group. There's 4 or 5 guys that we think can all start at a lot of places in this country. So we got to find ways to get them the ball, and that's a big part of our offense. Last year we led the SEC in rushing at Texas A&M, and we're going to play to our strengths. And if we can run the ball every play, we'll do it.
Got a question on the front.
Stephen Hoggs with the AP. Kliff, I know you've been on the job a couple months, and I know you've had other successful jobs in college football being young, but is there still a surreal feeling for you knowing that here I am, 33 years old, and I'm about to be the head coach of my alma mater, job I'd probably love to be in for a long time, and how do you kind of relate that as you get ready to really get to work now?
Yeah, you have those moments, but you just try to not let it overwhelm you. You know, you just attack each and every day. How can I make this program better today? And that's really all I've done since I got there. You know, the first couple of days you get the job, you sit in your office like, what do I do next? But it's been amazing. The reception we've had for Texas Tech and watching all the fans get back on board and pushing this program in the right direction has been incredible.
Question in the middle.
Joe Yeager, RaiderPower.com. How much on defense are you going to emphasize turnover creation, because that was a serious deficiency last year?
That's been point number one. In this league, teams are going to get their yards with this many great offenses. You got to be able to take people away and slow them down in the red zone. And we were last in the Big 12 last year, and I think 117th overall. And to win 8 games and be ranked in that place is pretty impressive. So that's been something we've harped on from day one and we continue to emphasize.
We got a question on the front right.
David Ubben, ESPN.com. Mentioning those turnovers, we saw Oklahoma State in 2011 and K-State last year put up some crazy numbers. How do you kind of emphasize that, and what can you do, and do you take anything away from what they did and how they did it?
Yeah, you saw the success they had with teams that ranked high in takeovers, and you just emphasize that we have circuits we do, and in practice, they're rewarded for it. Just as much as you can keep it in their minds, hey, when we have a chance to take the ball over and that ball's in the air, go get it, and that's really all we've done.
Question in the middle.
Louis Ojeda, Fox Sports Southwest. Mike Leach always liked to talk about just focusing on the next game, and Tuberville talked about championships a lot. What kind of message do you send your players?
Yeah, we're focused on the next day, actually. I mean, we try to get better each and every day, whether it's in the weight room or they're studying film on their own. Improve yourself as a player and let the wins take care of themselves. And I think by having small goals, that's the way to reach the places we want to be.
Surely you got more questions for Coach.
It's easy.
We go on right here. Front.
Hey, Kliff, is it possible to play too quickly, too up-tempo on offense? Have you all clocked it and broken it down how fast you can actually go?
We haven't scientifically. I mean, we want to push the pace at times, and I guess for the quarterback is the one you worry about the most. You don't want to be a cloudy picture. Sometimes when defense are still getting set, when you're snapping the ball, it makes it tough on them. So you try to minimize their thought process when you are going that fast.
Question on the aisle.
Kellis Robinette here with the Wichita Eagle. Coach, with being the youngest coach in the league, are there any advantages to being that young? Do you feel like it helps you relate to players or helps you connect on the recruiting trail?
I hope so, and I think not only age, but being at a place that I played and wasn't too far removed from. I think that helps. It's easy to sell a product when you've lived it and you love it, and you're talking to the parents, you're talking to the kids, and so hopefully they see that passion.
We had a question right over here. Right.
Kliff, you've kind of Rob Cassidy at Rivals.com. You've kind of been on both sides of this thing. How do you think Texas A&M going to the SEC has affected the recruiting landscape in Texas?
Since they won all those games, it's definitely helped, and I think that's the deal. Had they went in and went 5-7, and you wouldn't have seen the impact that they have. But Coach Summer's a great recruiter, and all the attention they've received and well received for the year they had, and with what Johnny's done, it's definitely helped them that move into the SEC. No, it hadn't affected us. I haven't seen anything that has changed what we do at Texas Tech or our recruiting in regards to Texas A&M.
On the front.
Yeah. Donnie Yarnick, the Donnie Sport Football Show. And you mentioned about the offense, and Texas Tech is known for that. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to defense. How do you shape up your defense compared to the rest of the league? And you mentioned that the grade between the SEC and the Big 12, how far is the gap?
Yeah, on the defensive side, we brought in Matt Wallerstedt, who was the defense coordinator at Air Force and was at Texas A&M last year when I was there. He's very aggressive, attacking schemes. He's got an experienced group coming back. The guys have learned 5 defenses in 5 different, years. So still some learning going on there, but excited about our defense. Really pleased with the progress in the spring. And then as far as the SEC Big 12 gap, I just think it's a case-by-case basis. If there's some great teams there and there's some great teams here, and it depends on the year.
We had a question in the rear middle.
Travis Brown at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. What do you see as the biggest and most relevant difference in the Big 12 from when you played and coaching now?
The parity in the league as far as this year goes, I think, when I was playing, you had Nebraska and was really good, and Colorado was way up there. And, there were 5 and 6 teams probably out in front of everybody else, and now it appears that most of the teams have come back to more of a pack. And I think that's more of a credit to the other teams stepping up than anything else.
Anything else for Coach? They let y'all. We got a question on the outside.
Coach, with a new quarterback coming in this year, obviously you had a lot of success at Texas A&M with Johnny Manziel, implementing a new quarterback into the system. Does that experience help you going into this year?
It does. Having worked with a younger guy last year, first-time starter, you learn, the good and bad and how much he can handle, how much you can put on him. Obviously, he was an exceptional case, but it definitely helped dealing with a first-time starter last year.
Got a question on the left, and then we'll come back to the back.
Don Williams from the Lubbock Avalanche Journal. Kliff, how much have you heard from the players with whom you played at Texas Tech and their support of you, and what has that meant to you?
It's been incredible. The reception has been really overwhelming from players and fans, and it's good to have all those guys back. When I played for Spike Dykes, I played for Mike Leach, so that's I don't know how many years covered, 25 years of Tech football that I can relate to. So to have all those guys back in the program, all pushing in the same direction, has been great.
Casey Kiernan, K-Texas and Abilene. You've got a couple defensive backs, Keenan Ward and Deep Hall, true freshmen, who are quarterbacks at their high school. And they've converted to DB. Do you feel like being the quarterback, that is more of a reflection of how they can understand the game, or it's just they were the best athlete at their school at the high school level?
Yeah, I think a little of both, and I think somebody that's done a great job of taking quarterbacks and turning them into great defense players is Gary Patterson. You look at some of the guys he has over the years, that usually in high school they're going to put their best skill athlete at quarterback, and then if those guys can make the transition to defense, they usually have a great understanding of the game, very athletic, and have great ball skills.
Hey, Coach, one more question about the quarterback competition and just using Johnny Manziel as a reference. Obviously, last year at this time, nobody knew that he could do what he did. But we found out what he could do once he got on the field in real games. There is still a part of you, I would think, right now, with the competition still going on, that you're not sure what these guys are going to do until you actually go out and play a real game.
There's no doubt. You never know how they're going to react when the lights come on, and how do they keep plays alive? How do they lead when things are going bad? So there's definitely a lot of those elements, and so hopefully it turns out like it did last year for us. It makes it a lot of fun.
Question in the middle left.
Kliff, Bryce Cherry, Waco Tribune-Herald. You guys play Baylor this year in Arlington and have for the last few years. Do you like that as a neutral site game, or would you like to see it continue in the Dallas area?
Yeah, I have not been a part of it yet. The feedback I've got from the players and the fans, I've heard it's been great atmospheres, been great games, and I think it's fun for our players to get to play in that arena. Where the Cowboys play, obviously. So I'm excited to be a part of that and see what it's like.
John Warner, Waco Tribune-Herald. Kliff, can you give us some idea what your schedule's been like since you were hired? I guess obviously you've talked to a lot of alumni, fan groups, that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that, a lot of speaking engagements, a lot of administrative stuff, and I've never pretended to have all the answers. It's been a learn-on-the-job type deal, and so you try to get done on all you can get done in one day, and wake up the next day and do it again. So it's been a great experience thus far, but definitely ready to get to the football side of it.
Anything else for Coach? All right, Coach, thank you very much for your comments. Good luck for the season.
All right, thanks for having me.
We got one more question? Okay. Barry, you have a question.
Yeah, Kliff, going back to that quarterback evaluation, you said you don't know about how the lights come on. How much of that is not letting quarterbacks get hit, not having them run? I mean, I've heard Kevin talk. He didn't know what he had in Johnny Manziel. I assume you're the same way. Nobody gets hit anymore quarterback-wise. Is it a case of you really don't know the guy's any kind of movement quarterback? You don't know what you've got until you're playing games?
To an extent, that's true. Last year, Coach Sullivan, he stands behind the line in practice and has a quick whistle if anybody gets close. So he'd shut those plays down that are really Johnny's forte. So until you see him out there extending plays and making things happen on the field, you don't know exactly what you have at that position.
Okay, one last time. Any more questions? Okay, Coach, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.